Welcome to the Raging Takes podcast with your hosts, Brian Dixon, Khai and Dylan Peters.
What's going on, turkeys? Yeah, it's a little bit different today. Welcome back. It's Raging Takes podcast, episode 152. That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
We're in it, dude.
Actually, in just a few days from now, it's actually going to be, I believe, our 3-year or 2-year. Yeah.
Dude.
I want to say
just
2
keep
years.
Chugging.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back. Here again, Dylan, I'm the host. We got Khai as the co-host here. And we are going to go through some of the late additions in free agency, some of the signings, a little bit of draft speculations once we get through all of the free agency news. We'll start off with, I guess is it the big one? Is it the big one of the time? It is.
It is, unfortunately. Right? Yeah.
Russell Wilson officially decides what team he wants to go to, and he signs with the New York Giants on a 1-year deal for $10.5 million. And he can earn up to $21 million in incentives on this deal. I want to know what these incentives are. And basically, this is a 1-year, $10 million deal.
Yeah, they didn't release the incentives yesterday when the news came out at first, but I can try to find those right now while you talk.
So what I'm thinking here is the New York Giants are saying to the NFL, we don't like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like it to me. Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, they're still in position to draft their future quarterback, and they only signed Russell Wilson for 1 year, so that kind of tells me that maybe they think that Russell Wilson will just be the bridge quarterback for 1 year. But why draft a quarterback that high if he's not going to start right away, or at least have a chance to?
Why in the world would you why in the world would you sign Jameis Winston? Great guy. And then you also signed Russell Wilson.
And then draft a rookie.
To be determined on the great guy thing with Russell Wilson. We don't know. We still don't know. The locker rooms that he's been a part of later in his career have been weird. He's kind of been like that guy that's like, you love him and you hate him at the same time if he's on your team. And the last thing I'd want to do is bring a rookie quarterback into this quarterback room, which in my opinion is not a viable quarterback room for a young rookie.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially with the way that Russell Wilson has already kind of like conducted himself since the signing. He's kind of like said, I'm almost guaranteed to start. Like he's pretty much demanding that he starts. He's like, I better be starting. Yeah. So that's not really the vibe you want when you're bringing in a rookie and you're hoping to groom him. I mean, Russell Wilson's definitely not going to be the guy.
Yeah. And if I'm going to be honest, if they signed Jameis Winston and then drafted Shedeur Sanders at number 3, I think they'd be in a better position. But for some reason, Brian Daboll and the Giants front office can't stop making stupid fucking mistakes. They don't give Saquon the deal he wants, and then instead they give Darius Slayton a bigger contract, and then basically bring in a Daniel Jones substitute who is, don't get me wrong, better than Daniel Jones as a passer, but not as good as a runner. So it's going to change your offense completely.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this does for the Giants picking number 3?
Man, I mean, so if they don't take a quarterback, they could go, obviously, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. Both would be fantastic choices, honestly. Yeah, or
one of them's going to be there.
Man, if they even want to go offensive line, I could see them taking Armin Membu, who's being projected as the top offensive tackle in the draft so far.
The only person they can't choose, the New York Giants can't choose, and I guarantee you it's a possibility that they do, is Ashton Jeanty. Okay, so hear me out. You can't let Saquon walk and then draft Ashton Jeanty. That's not how you gain back respect. Anyways, this is further. We're going to go further along with this later on in the episode with draft speculation. I just think it's an interesting move for the Giants because this is like a move to me that thinks that they're ready to compete in that division. if you think signing a veteran quarterback is like the final piece to your puzzle. It's not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I see where they're going with it. I mean, you kind of hope to just get like 1 year of stability with Russell Wilson and maybe someone that could just feed Malik Neighbors and, an interesting group of wide receivers that they have there. But yeah, I mean, you still need help on the O-line. The defense could use a few additional pieces, and you really don't have a run game either. I mean, it's still Devin Singletary? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? I think this is good for Malik Neighbors' stock, because if you do remember, I mean, when Russell Wilson was in Denver, he fed Courtland Sutton pretty well. And then there again in Pittsburgh, but not as effective, George Pickens.
Yeah.
He was able to feed George Pickens. So for me, Malik Neighbors is a better prospect than Pickens or Sutton. So he should therefore have a better role in that offense.
Yeah, I mean, and say they grab Travis Hunter, there's another weapon right there,
Dude, trade back a couple spots, draft Ted McMillan instead.
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think Hunter's going to be pulled between offense and defense, and I think it's going to be an interesting first couple years from him. Kind of reminds me of like the position changes and like that kind of shit that, although different levels of players, like a guy like Devin Hester had, started at corner, mainly a special teams guy, moved him to receiver, and it kind of fucked up his production in all aspects of the game once they started splitting up his positions like that. So we'll see if Travis Hunter can transcend that challenge.
That's actually a very good comparison. Yeah, like going the Devin Hester route until they figure it out.
Yeah, it's just so another bit of news, another huge signing. Stefon Diggs signed with the Patriots on a 3-year, $69 million deal, $26 million guaranteed. And before we say anything, I want to do a little update on the on the free agents competition we're having, where we guessed what teams were going to sign which guys. Brian got a point with the Stefon Diggs to the Patriots.
Yeah, he did.
So congratulations to him. He is still ahead of us pretty greatly, I believe. So news came out that the Patriots were out on Devontae Adams. They were out on Cooper Kupp or another star receiver because they didn't want a diva receiver to come in and make it harder for their quarterback. So what they did was they turned around and said, we're going to sign the biggest diva to a huge deal, and we'll see what happens. Coming off an ACL injury, getting this is a big deal. So what are the Patriots thinking?
I mean, it's a good fit just out of necessity, but goddamn, it's a lot of money. And yes, he did just come off of an ACL tear. So it's a little questionable, but at the same time, you do need a dog in the room. So it's like I said, I like the fit. It's just a lot of goddamn money for a guy that, frankly, his best year was about 2 or 3 years from now. We're a little bit removed since peak Stefon Diggs. Yeah.
He was very effective last season with the Texans and CJ Stroud, and a big part of the Texans' failures late in the season was the losses of Stefon Diggs and Nico Collins. But Stefon Diggs was the alpha in that offense with the Texans when he was healthy, in my opinion. He had the most targets. He had the most catches. He was surprising a lot of people. So coming into this situation, kind of good. Patriots draft 4th, This is the chance to do something big for your team. You invest in a receiver so you can go and invest in your defense.
I mean, they've done a lot of that already. I mean, we'll get to that in the draft speculation about what the Patriots might do.
Good for Stefon Diggs. I'd say that is a secured bag on the tail end of your season. Good job.
Dude, that should be his final big deal, honestly.
Yeah, and may you help Drake May have a fantastic sophomore season.
Yeah, that's what we can hope for.
That's what I'm saying. John Harbaugh signs a 3-year extension with the Ravens, now tied to the franchise through 2028. I mean, you don't hear coach extensions every day, but this one, I guess, if you ask, I would say
makes sense.
I saw this coming. Yeah, this is a good signing for the Ravens. Now, maybe go out there and with the 27th pick and the 2025 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select, hopefully, a good receiver.
Finally an alpha, right?
Someone.
Yeah.
Trade, do something. Puka Nacua has stated that he wants to retire at the age of 30. He is currently 23 years old. What say you about this?
I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I feel like with the way he's going right now, you're kind of like guaranteed great production up until he decides to retire. So, I mean, if you own him in Dynasty, it's nice knowing that if he sticks to this, you know exactly your timeline of having this player. Yeah, so.
Yeah. And you know what? I'd say that's a decent age to retire from the NFL, especially if you're Puka, who stays healthy through this year. Did he get paid? He didn't get paid yet.
Not yet. I believe he's still on the rookie deal, but he definitely will have a deal coming. And I mean, his reasons are pretty admirable for it too. He's basically stated that his mind is going to be more towards building a family around that age, you know, like building a legacy. Like he said, he wants a bunch of boys. I'm like, oh yeah, get them all in the NFL. We'll be talking about him in 20 years.
Oh yeah, he signed a 4-year, $4 million contract. That was his rookie deal. Funny enough, Puka Nacua, I'm sure we've talked about this. Born in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, May 29th, 2001 in Las Vegas, Nevada. He is a Las Vegas kid. You know,
grew up in Hawaii. Awesome. I mean, technically Las Vegas is the 9th island.
Yeah. Dude, he's going to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL probably after this season. He will be in the mix for that. The Rams are going to have to give him the bag. That gives him the chance to possibly reel in an extension on that and make a lot of money. But I feel it, dude. Retiring at 30 from the NFL has got to be good because you're not going to – once you turn that age, dude, your body hits a wall and then you open yourself up to some injuries. So good for him looking out for his health.
Yep.
Please do play till you're 30, though, because I love watching you.
Yeah.
My next question, how do the Bills have so much money? Bills extend quarterback Christian Benford to a 4-year, $76 million deal. In 2024, he had 64 tackles, 10 pass deflections, and 2 interceptions. That is a lot of tackles for a cornerback. So he was doing a lot out there.
I mean, like I don't mind what the Bills have done this offseason. You know, they're pretty much locking up their defense, you know, what was so successful last year for them. And, you know, it just seems like they're going to ride Josh Allen again, like they do every year. So let's see how it works.
Dude, it's got to be. It's the Bills got to do everything they can, I guess. Because, like I said,
I think they go out and draft another receiver. You kind of missed on Keon Coleman. You better try again. I mean, I wouldn't say missed, but you need another
Keon
one.
Coleman, yeah. I think Keon Coleman will grow into a great wide receiver in the NFL. I think it will take some time, and he's lucky to be with the Bills during this part of his career. But he wasn't asked to do very much at Florida State. You know, he's being asked to do a lot more, and he's learning how to do it. So I think it's going to be one of those guys you got to take some time to let him grow.
But I really think that the Bills need to draft a receiver this year who's pro-ready right now. I think they need another guy in the room.
Well, there's a lot of, luckily for the NFL this year, wide receiver and running back are absolutely stacked through the draft this year. I'd say there's 2 rounds worth of first-round talent on the offense, if we're really talking about it.
Yeah, especially when you consider that there are guys that are falling just for weird reasons, just some like small concerns and worries. Yeah.
And we'll see what come draft day. I'm sure this will all be answered. All of the speculation that we're having, who's going where. But this next thing that we're going to talk about is interesting to me, to say the least. Hunter Renfrow. Haven't heard that name in a while since his career was just tanked by Josh McDaniels. Hunter Renfrow plans to play again in 2025. And so far has had visits with the Panthers on Wednesday and the Raiders on Friday.
Very interesting indeed. Yeah, I mean, how old is he again right now?
He's got to be like 29, 28.
Yeah, I still
think he's not that old.
Yeah, he could still have a role somewhere. I mean, the Panthers could use him. The Raiders could definitely use him too. I mean, I would actually like if he went back to the Raiders. I think Brian would too. I think we're all big Hunter Renfrow guys here. We see the potential. We see the vision.
Yeah, he's 29.
That's not bad.
So he will be around 30 come the time of the season.
I think he could. I think he could be like a great role player in your offense. You know, I mean, I think he could still get open. He's still that route tactician we know.
I think he needs to go to the Panthers. Is seemingly a great fit for me.
I like the Raiders better with Geno.
The Raiders better with Geno. Yeah, that could work. A little route runner.
He had that last year with JSN. You know, I feel like Hunter Renfrow and JSN are kind of in the same mold.
I saw the success that Adam Thielen continued to have with Bryce Young, and I kind of put Adam Thielen and Hunter Renfrow in the same category of football player. Just great route runners, a little bit undersized, great hands, very good IQ, and they are separators. Without elite speed, they are separators, and that's the kind of receiver you need for a young quarterback. But Geno too could use a guy that can get open in the middle of the field, especially.
Yeah, I mean, I think either one of these fits would not be bad for Hunter Renfrow.
Even if he wants to come to the Bears, he can come to Chicago, dude. I would love to get a Hunter Renfrow Bears jersey. I would have it ordered the day he signed, I believe. All right, so we're going to move on to the draft speculation. We've done a little bit of it in this episode so far. But we'll take a deeper dive into the what ifs here. So, Khai, who do the Patriots take at number 4 if Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter are gone, or both? If both of those guys are gone, or one or the other, what do you think?
Oh man, I've already given this some thought, but I would have to say Armin Membu. You know, just if you can't get either of those two like difference makers in Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, just solidify that offensive line. Give Drake May some protection and ensure that he has more success in year 2.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing here is their needs, and I think the Patriots will probably at number 4 take best player available. So we got offensive tackle, which you said, cornerback, edge, receiver. I think there's no other receivers that are necessarily worth taking over some other guys in the draft. But I think if this draft shakes out a certain way where they're not going to pick a quarterback and there's a quarterback on the board, like a Shedeur Sanders, I think the bidding wars are going to start at 4 with New England to move up and to get Shedeur Sanders. I think that's what's going to happen. But if they were to stand pat and pick a player, I would honestly have to say they'd probably go edge. Like the guy Javon Walker. I think it's Javon Walker or somebody from Georgia. There's a pass rusher from Georgia I could see getting taken a little bit high.
There's another guy, Mason Graham from Michigan.
Yeah, Mason Graham. And then Shamar Stewart was creeping up the boards there. He's a freakish athlete. We know Mike Vrabel likes to build his defense and his offense in the trenches. So I'm guessing it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball on the defensive line. So I'm going to say like a Shamar Stewart or a Mason Graham or I can't remember his name from Georgia, but I'll remember it.
Okay. So I do agree with you about Mike Vrabel addressing either side of the trench here with this pick, but I, for some reason, feel like he's going to go offensive line just because I feel like they did so much with the defense so far. Yeah.
Yeah, Membu would be a nice pick at number 4. I think they could, but I think if they're going to do that, I think they could take somebody's offer. I think they can take like, if somebody's trying to, like if the Saints or something want to trade up to number 4, something like that, or if somebody's trying to leapfrog them.
I wouldn't be surprised if they trade out of the pick,
Like how the Bears did with the Eagles a few years ago where they moved back 1 pick and picked up a 4th round pick, something like that. You know, and they still get the same guy. Do you think that the Steelers could take a quarterback early in this draft if they sign Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, there was an interesting mock that I did see recently. I can't remember who did it, but I saw the Steelers taking Jaxson Dart in the 1st round. And I kind of thought to myself, I was like, I kind of like that. I feel like Mike Tomlin would see Jaxson Dart's potential and would fully capitalize on it.
I don't see. I wouldn't see the Steelers taking a quarterback early in this draft at pick 21. I don't see them trading up for a quarterback. So if they're picking at 21, if they're picking at 21, Jackson, to me, that's not Jaxson Dart falling. That's actually reaching on Jaxson Dart.
No, I was saying, like, what if they grabbed him in the second round?
Oh, I mean, that is sort of early in the draft. Yeah, if they draft him in the second round. But they haven't had like very good traction with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Lately. Like they haven't had very good traction with quarterbacks. And I think if you're going to bring Aaron Rodgers in, I think the dumbest thing you could possibly do is draft his successor right after you sign him. I think what you have to do is what people were basically screaming in the Packers organization's face to do, is put some weapons around him. So I think if you sign Aaron Rodgers, you have to go offense in your 2 first picks. I think you have to draft him a running back and a wide receiver.
Yeah. I can see the running back, though. Yeah, because I don't think Jaylen Warren's going to be a running back 1 in this kind of offense.
Whoever gets Omarion Hampton is going to be happy with him, and I think that the Steelers would be just completely remiss if they don't draft a power running back in this draft.
I've been seeing Omarion Hampton mocked to Denver recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a Sean Payton running back, but man, the way he was using all those running backs last year, that would be the only worry I have.
No, I feel it. And what I'm thinking to myself is the Steelers, number one, their Achilles heel during this entire last 2 seasons has been their offense. So you can't afford to double down on the quarterback and draft 2. I think you have to, if you're selling out for a Super Bowl, which I think if you're Mike Tomlin, you think you're close to, if you can get a semblance of a pass game, in the NFL. So I don't think Aaron Rodgers will go to the Steelers, but by just process of elimination, the teams are getting slimmer and slimmer. So we could be looking at that.
Yeah.
Do you think Jaxson Dart will go in the first round, though?
He has been moving up the draft boards a lot lately. A lot of people have been liking his deep arm talent. He's a mobile quarterback. There's a lot to like with him. It's almost like when I would say it's very similar to when like Lamar Jackson first came out, but I would say Jaxson Dart's already a lot better of a thrower at first. And he's pretty fast. He's really fast.
Did he have, let me see, I'm going to look up his college, his
numbers.
How many games he played. Let's see. Jaxson Dart was this is good. He was a 3-year full-time starter at Ole Miss. Played basically half of his freshman season at Ole Miss. At USC, sorry. So by the numbers and by how I say, this is a lot like how Bo Nix came out last year. This is the guy that has high volume, a lot of games played in college, a lot of games started in college, in the SEC, which, by the way, before Bo Nix went to Oregon, he played at Auburn, and he was in the SEC. So both of these guys have SEC pedigree, a lot of yards in college, a lot of touchdowns in college, and very, very, very minimal interceptions for Jaxson Dart in college. I'd say he has a chance to go in the first round, but I wouldn't bet on it. But with the weakness of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders at the top, I could see it not being as top heavy, bringing up the rest of the pack to meet them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So what kind of team do you think would be going for Jaxson Dart? You think it's going to be the Steelers? You think it's going to be a team like that?
I kind of just think like any quarterback that might see the talent and potential in him and that like potentially needs a quarterback in the next year or two might take a shot on him. You just never know.
I heard the Atlanta Falcons need a quarterback.
Oh, God.
That's what they were thinking last year, too.
That would just be the most frustrating quarterback room I've ever seen in my life.
I think so, too. I think it wouldn't be bad for a team like the Indianapolis Colts to reach on Jaxson Dart at number 14.
Ooh.
I don't think it would be a bad idea for like a team like, I don't know. The rest of the teams behind that are...
I like that Colts one, honestly. It's like, hey, you're going to draft Anthony Richardson who can actually throw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think any of these teams, I think the Colts are a factor in that. I think probably the next team after that would be a factor would be the Vikings at 24, in my opinion.
I don't know, though. I mean, they kind of seem like they're set on McCarthy.
I think you have a good enough team around. We haven't seen McCarthy play, and he got injured. So
that's true. I mean,
it's just,
and Dart could fucking air it out to JJ and Addison. Ooh.
I think I'm not predetermining anything here, okay? I just want to talk about the JJ McCarthy thing, okay? Starting for me, okay, it's really starting to smell like Trey Lance. That's me, okay? I'm not saying this is going to be a thing, but there's a chance that JJ McCarthy doesn't see field very much. We don't know. We don't know if he's going to come in and be NFL ready. We don't know if he actually was NFL ready when he got drafted.
I mean, you won't hear no argument from me. I was pretty low on him last year anyways.
I think the best thing you can do is bring in competition. You can't let this kid get comfortable. I know you drafted him in the first round or whatever, dude. You made a mistake. Whatever. It's fine. Draft his competition. He doesn't get to just come in and just ride coattails. That's an NFC championship quality team, and they need to invest in the quarterback more than fucking JJ McCarthy. And
That's
I'll
fair.
rest my case.
Yeah. Okay.
Brian would love to talk about this, and maybe he will later on. Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders being projected heavily as of late. So number 6 overall, Ashton Jeanty is being basically mocked and projected by experts to be drafted there.
A lot of them too. I mean, yeah, since like more and more like workout footage has come out, he's, you know, everyone's almost kind of like, we can't deny this guy, and everyone just can't stop drawing comparisons to how well this guy would be in a Pete Carroll offense. And I think that's where a lot of this hype is coming from. Whether or not the Raiders do it remains to be seen. It could just be all a big smokescreen at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's like the Chris Carson, the Kenneth Walker, the Ashton Jeanty. He would be the most talented guy Pete Carroll maybe has coached at running back, possibly. But
Marshawn Lynch, sure. Yeah, it's a little hard.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. He was good. He was more of like a bruiser, way different style of running back, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I stand corrected. I think that the Raiders have a little bit more holes on their team than a running back. I thought that maybe a cheap free agency addition would have done fine for their team. I can't see the heavy investment in the running back, especially when you got holes at receiver and you just brought in Geno Smith, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like they need somebody to play receiver for them. Or else, like, it's just, so it's literally just, what's his name? They're number 1 over there. That's the only guy that they have, the Raiders receiver.
Dude, Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, they got Jacoby Myers and they got Brock Bowers. Like, you need a number 2 receiver, or you need to find a number 1 receiver. But it would be fun. It would be fun to possibly go see him play in a home game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. This next question, and I think speculation that we have here, is a little bit of a tricky one for me because I don't know if we have one in the first round of the NFL draft.
I think there is.
You think, okay, who is the safest wide receiver in this year's draft?
I think Tetaroa McMillan, if you have to go in the first round, just because he's a big guy already. We know he can play. You know, he's a big guy, can catch contested catches. You know, he was on a bad offense last year, but, you know, he's still a good run blocker. He just has all the tools to succeed in the NFL to me. You know, he's a big guy, runs routes like Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I
I think he's like a faster Mike Evans, honestly. That's like the comparison I've always had for him. Yeah.
He's a faster Mike Evans. I like the idea of having a faster Mike Evans. I really do. Now, that being said, Mike Evans is one of the best receivers I've ever watched play football, like over time. So I've seen Megatron and I've seen Terrell Owens and I've seen Randy Moss. But all things aside, he's one of the best receivers I've ever seen play. My problem is guys that are contested catch receivers, which Ted McMillan is qualifying as a physical style receiver, tall, lean, long arms. Will that kind of translate to the NFL? Like, will he be able to get open? Because he's not I don't think he's a shifty route runner as much as, like you said, an Amon-Ra St. Brown is. I don't think he's got that route running ability in his arsenal. He's good, but will it translate? I don't know if it's actually safe. To me. I don't know who the safe. I don't know what the answer is, because a lot of these receivers this year are not all around receivers. Like how,
like a Justin Jefferson. Yeah.
Like a Justin Jefferson. He's a route runner. He can run deep. He has really, like Justin Jefferson is, and Jamar Chase too.
Yeah. They can
like
do
there's
it all.
There's not a JJ, a Jamar Chase. There's not those guys in this draft. That's my point. I would have to say, if I was going to choose a safe receiver, I would say it's probably one of the guys you can maybe get in the second round. I'm thinking a lot of Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think you can get him a little bit later. It's not going to cost you much as a Ted McMillan. And I think he might have just as good of a chance to come out and be a wide receiver one in his first couple years.
Okay. No, I mean, I agree with you. I think there might be a better guy in the second round, but yeah, because one of my guys just recently, believe he fell out of the first round, and now he's being projected as a second round guy.
Yeah. And it's like, there's a couple, and then there's like, dude, ever since a guy like Puka Nacua getting drafted in the fifth round and being like an unbelievable talent, it's hard to say anything is safe, because all players getting drafted are really good. And put in the right system with the right coach that believes in them and the right skill set, can become an all-pro. And I think there's probably multiple all-pro receivers in this draft.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. The talent's there.
I like this draft class a lot for a receiver, honestly. I think there's a lot of good like guys that are not going to be in the first round, basically.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like we played the college football 25, and we got to know a lot of these players.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to once again have players that we played against or played with. Like, I can't wait to see Dylan Sampson, who he gets drafted by, dude.
Yeah.
I can't wait. But that's just me. Moving on to another guy that pretty much destroyed us in college football as well as real life, Cam Skattebo. Are we sleeping on him after his 40 time, or do we think that's an overrated stat for his style of play?
I think it's a very overrated stat for his style of play. I think this is one of those guys. There's always a list of guys in every draft to where people are just kind of overthinking on all the stuff that doesn't matter besides the game tape. Cam Skattebo is one of those guys where the tape looks fucking good. Like, this guy can play in the NFL. He's got the toughness. He's got the grittiness. Man, like, I think he is being slept on a little bit. Like, they have him projected as a fourth round now. Like, yeah, he could easily be a second rounder, in my opinion.
That is a steal for anybody drafting him if he falls to the fourth round, because there's such thing as football speed, okay?
Yeah.
There's such thing as a guy, you can make him run all day in shorts. You can make him run all day in shorts. And you're like, oh, that guy's kind of slow, huh? In shorts. Put pads on him. Put a helmet on him, put cleats on him, put pants on him, put a football in his hand, and watch him play a football game. And then tell me he's slow when you see this man running with reckless abandon into your chest cavity, just crushing it in and staring at you as you're fucking sitting there. Like, you going to do that again? You going to come up the middle again and try to tackle me? No, dude, you're not. That's the kind of guy that you need. That's why I think the Steelers should draft Hampton, a power back. Like, you need those guys that can run between your guard and center and smash the linebackers in their mouth until they get tired of tackling him. So, no, dude, I know he's not Derrick Henry, but that's the Derrick Henry effect. That's the Marshawn Lynch effect. That's all these things. Like, that tires out that front seven. So I would not sleep on Cam Skattebo, and if he goes to a contender, it's going to be nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the Bengals get him, that adds a smash mouth part of your run game that you didn't have last year. So, any more thoughts on Cam Skattebo?
No, I just think I agree with everything you say. I think he's going to be a big steal in this draft, and people are going to be like, why the hell were we down on him?
It happens every year, dude.
Yep.
It happens every single year.
Yep.
So we're going to go into a small segment, and I'm sure we'll do this again, but these are our guys. This is the hosts. This is a host special. It's Dylan and Khai's guys. All right. I'm sure you know everybody. I've already talked about Kyle McCord. And so all of a sudden, also John Gruden came out and was like, I love this guy. This is the guy that I want to run my offense. He's got a football mind and a rocket for an arm. And I'm like, I'm validated. I don't need to say much more. I had an expert validate my opinion. What about you, Khai?
No, I like Kyle McCord too. I watched a few of his games in college this year, but yeah, man, kid's a gunslinger. I've seen him throw crazy. Like, he's had a few games in college this year where he was throwing like 500 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. And I believe there was 2 games that were like an anomaly where he threw a lot of interceptions, but other than that, played a very clean season. Didn't throw a lot of interceptions. I don't remember what his yards were, but man, yeah, just definitely gunslinger. But man, if he's in the right system with the right offense and the right weapons, I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh, definitely not, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, the ceiling is not too high on the quarterbacks this year, so the floor is going to be raised a little bit, because every year, no matter who's in the draft class, teams draft quarterbacks. So it could be strong or it could be weak. All these quarterbacks are going to get drafted. I just hope some guys go to the right system and don't get like Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, that happens a lot too with quarterbacks.
Too much.
Yeah. But yeah, so my guy, this is one of my big sleepers for fantasy football and beyond, but Luther Burden III from Missouri. So this was a 5-star high school recruit and top 10 overall recruit in all of the nation coming out of high school. Chose the wrong college, though. Went to Missouri. Very run heavy, not very high pass volume offense. And even then, still, his second year in college was his best one. And then the third year, which was last season, Missouri was a very weak offense. I believe they only had like 2,700 passing yards. But he's another one of those guys, just like Cam Skattebo. There's a little bit of question marks surrounding outside of the game tape. But when you watch the tape, this guy can play. Excellent run blocker, very good route runner, very good acceleration. Kind of reminds me of like a Deebo Samuel, but the only difference is he's more polished than Deebo Samuel already in terms of route running and ball skills in the air. Like, he kind of reminds me of like a Deebo Samuel with Devontae Smith in terms of ball skills. So
that's a pretty good comparison there.
Yeah, so I mean, it just sucks. Like, there's not really a lot to show on the stat sheet because of the offense that he was in. But man, if you watch that tape, I promise you, if this guy lands in the right offense, he will be a weapon.
This guy's going to be on the field when he gets drafted, because just like, let's just say, dude, Calvin Johnson went to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is historically a run first, run heavy option offense. So Calvin Johnson learned to block. Brendan Marshall went to UCF. Not really a high volume passing attack either. Learned to block. A lot of these guys that go to college and they run these run heavy schemes as a receiver, learn to do the nitty gritty things that NFL teams like to already have instilled in their players. Blocking, knowing your assignments, knowing how to be involved in a run scheme. And I think that'll be good for Luther Burden. It won't be a burden on his team, you know?
Yeah, and
So,
not even to mention, though, too, first team all SEC at wide receiver the last 2 years in college. And even last year where his stats weren't even that great.
first team all SEC, that means a lot because that's LSU's in there, Alabama's in there, Georgia's in there. We got all these high-powered, like Texas is in there, Oklahoma's in there. We got all these high-powered teams with these great offenses, and a guy from a run-heavy scheme is your all SEC representative. So that being said, he's going to be a nice steal for a team as well.
Yeah, and then just to clarify too, these were like the only like few concerns I heard about his draft process. Number one, I don't like this one. His girlfriend is his manager. I don't know about that. That's a rumor I heard. I don't know how true it is. And then number two is some draft people were saying that like sometimes it seemed like he was bored with the offense that he was on, but it never affected his work ethic and him actually playing the game. He just seemed bored with the offense, which is fair because he's probably just a hyper talented guy on the wrong offense.
Yeah, and he won't be bored in the NFL because the stakes are so much higher. And I'm sure Missouri just got, pummeled around in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is what it is. But yeah, you get guys that are bored, but it kind of shows that he's not really a diva.
Yeah.
Like he got bored, but it didn't affect his play.
Yep.
We have to respect that about a guy.
Yeah, but please get a different manager.
Yeah, dude, and that'll be bad for him personally. But you know what? We live and we learn, don't we?
Yeah.
We live and we learn every day.
And another fun fact on him, he's the second youngest child of 10. He has 9 sisters.
Damn.
I know.
What a burden. So to close it out, dude, 9 sisters is criminal.
That's crazy work.
Yeah, that's.
He's probably quite a ladies' man, though. Honestly,
dude, I'd hate to be the girl that messes with him. You just got 9 of his sisters beating your ass. So to close it out, the NFL Combine is over. Been over, I believe. But any anomalies that you saw in the Combine that could transfer to NFL success?
Yeah, that guy that I was talking to you about this morning, I think everyone's been talking about him now, but Desmond Watson. So he's a defensive lineman, 464 pounds. He would be the heaviest drafted position player in the NFL if that were to happen.
Ever.
Yeah. So, yeah, he ran a 5.86 40-yard dash at 464 pounds, mind you. And this little science fact right here, they said that is equal to a 240-pound linebacker running a 3.03 40-yard dash.
So basically what we're saying here is the amount of energy that this man produces. Dude, it's like a car taking off.
Yeah, like it's like a pickup truck, like getting hit by a pickup truck.
Yeah. I don't want to block him. I don't want anyone to have to block him, but they're going to have to block him. I love having these big 400+ pound guys in the NFL. It's so much fun to watch.
How long do you think it takes him to run back a touchdown?
Oh, dude, big man touchdown?
Yeah.
Dude, I hope his first snap of his NFL career is an interception return for a touchdown. I hope that's what happens, and I hope we get to see him on the oxygen after and everything.
Yeah, I mean, he moves pretty quick for a big guy. I mean, that's insane to me. That's what I call an anomaly for sure.
That is a physical and literally it is a physical anomaly. It defies physics to be moving that fast. The fact that it's the equivalent of a linebacker running like a 240-pound linebacker or something running a 3 flat should just tell you that something that big should not move that fast ever. Especially with just 2 legs.
That would make me drop some bricks for sure.
Oh, dude, yeah, I would fucking do mud in my pants if I saw that man running at me. Just with and he's making hella noise.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, dude,
you know how big that motherfucker would look in your D line on TV, like you'd see him, you'd be like, oh my God.
Oh, he's the perfect 3-4 like nose tackle, brother.
Yeah.
He
Takes up 2 spots.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. On the team plane as well. So
yeah.
Takes up 2 seats on the team.
I'm not
plane.
sure where his let me look at his draft projection really quick, because that's kind of interesting. I feel like, let's see. I just really want to know this. So he plays at Florida, and man, I don't. Oh, he's gonna be pretty low. They're thinking like anywhere from 5 to 7. They don't know about him yet. Yeah.
Hey man, it is what it is. If you got one specialty in the NFL, it'll get you drafted, and sometimes that's being a ginormous fucking person, just a massive guy, just the biggest guy you've ever seen. I'm pretty excited about the draft though. I think it's coming up here in about like 3 weeks, 3+.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh yeah, like more like 3.5 weeks. Yeah.
So I'm guessing coming up, we're gonna have our rookie rankings,
mock draft.
and we'll come out with a mock draft and a little bit other draft news or speculation as it gets closer. And as things start heating up, things will get more fun. So be looking forward to that. And yeah, just to close out episode 152, I'm your host, Dylan. And then we got Khai as the co-host. Follow us on X or Twitter, whichever one you call it, Instagram, TikTok. It's all at Raging Takes. On X, I'm such a wise fool. Khai is RTP Khai. Brian is Montana Sauce. And yeah, stick with us and we'll get you more coverage.
All right.
Peace.